Hello and welcome to the Life and Leadership Podcast, where we're developing military leaders one question at a time. Today it's my pleasure to welcome back Chief Master Sergeant April Brittain. Chief, welcome back.
Thank you.
So same question as last time. Are the ideas you express yours or the official position of the Space Force?
They're my ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief, during the first interview, you talked about the power of being vulnerable. So if you're willing, could you unpack a leadership mistake you made sometime during your time in service and just talk through the things you learned from it?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? I've made a lot of mistakes. So I have to take my glasses off for this one and lean in. To date, my biggest failure, and granted, like I said, there's not just one, was I was a tech sergeant. I was stationed I'll just say overseas. And I was in charge of a base network modernization project. So I'm the lead project manager. We're refreshing all of the IT equipment across the base network infrastructure. And so this particular morning, we were supposed to take down the network for the command post. And so command post is a key customer on the base, and it's got a lot of attention when you take downtime for that, just based on the types of communications that come into the command post. And so my team was out in front of me that morning, and they were supposed to just kind of lay in the groundwork for us to come in with the gear and then, turn the gear hot when I came through the door with the equipment. And so I showed up. I think our downtime started around 10. I showed up at like 9:45. Nothing's done. Like none of the initial stuff that takes a couple hours was in place. And so I look around and I look for my lead that was supposed to have been there and made sure the work was done, and he's nowhere to be found. And so I do what we typically would do is pick up the phone and call him. And so I pick up the phone, I call him, and he answers the phone like it's any other day. And he just says his name and the company he works for, and how can I help you? And then he gets me, the crazy psycho tech sergeant that's now super nervous because I know I've got a lot of heat on me. We're not where we're supposed to be. This is a key customer. All those fears start building of like, why is he not in place? Because you start to think about, oh gosh, we're going to get in trouble. I'm the project lead. You just start going through that whole process of how this is going to go. And so he doesn't get a word in other than he introduces himself and says, can I help you? And then there's me, like, hey, this is Sergeant Brittain. Where are you at? What are you doing? And I just go off, like 90 miles an hour. What's going on? Why are you not here? Why is this not done? And then finally I have to shut up because oxygen is the thing, and I have to breathe. And so I finally inhale because I'm out of breath. And he just says, April, my wife died. And so right there, my heart, my guts, everything just fell out. Because for at least, 30, 45 seconds, I'm on the phone with him just, where are you? What are you doing? Just going off. And never once stopped to just say, hey, good morning. You're not over here. Is there something going on? What's going on is what I should have started with. Is he'd never let me down before. I had no reason to think that he just, was defiant or was just standing me up or just, there was no reason for me to think anything deliberately bad about him. It was just that internalizing thing you do of, oh gosh, I'm going to get in trouble and now this is going to escalate and so what I learned, long story short, is always ask. Start the conversation with, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Because in his case, he wasn't okay. He was at work because it was what he knew, and that was his routine, right? He was in kind of a state of shock, and so he did what he normally would have done on any other day while he, got back to the place where he could kind of mentally process the whole thing. So, yeah, terrible. You asked for it, Chris?
Yeah, no, again, that's a very tough situation, but what's the leadership takeaway from that situation?
Yeah, always ask your people if they're okay and what's going on before you assume anything. Don't jump the gun. Because I jumped the gun and then some. And then I had a lot of backpedaling to do to fix that. Because I found him in one of the worst moments of his life, and I treated him like he deserved it, and he didn't deserve it. And so now I had to, I stopped my day no matter what, right? Now I really had to stop in my tracks because there was a bigger thing going on that far exceeded the fact that the command post was on the dockets for the day. And I was a tech sergeant, so this is, for me, is, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I've never not stopped and asked that question now if somebody's not where they're supposed to be. I don't assume anything.
I'd say it's such a tough position to be in, but such a valuable lesson to learn, right? That
Yeah.
the human side of leadership and the power of relationships, they take years to build and seconds to destroy. And it's
Yeah. And
tough.
so fortunately for him, he did forgive me. And then I just had to do a lot of self-reflecting of why was I like that to start with, and it starts with your own internal fear of what skin do you have in the game in this equation right now? And what are you worried about for your own self, preservation? And then it just, fortunately, sometimes that bleeds out to other people. You see it all the time. If I don't do this, I'll get in trouble. And so you really have to see and do those fear inventories of where is that coming from.
So, Chief, that was obviously a challenging situation that put a lot of stress on you. And right, that compounded over 3 decades of service. How did you build up the resiliency to stay in the fight for those 30 years?
I really enjoy people. And so it wasn't because the money was great. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. The mission was important. We all say that, right? But really, to me, I stayed for the people because I just saw, it's interesting when we stood up Space Force, and even, I grew up IT predominantly. I did a lot of first sergeant duty too. I did probably, 6, 7 years of first sergeant duty. And so you just learned that people are important. They're critical to everything that we do. If you treat them well, then they're going to take care of everything else. And so I would find pockets of time where I just felt like I was maybe not the only kind of people-y person around, but definitely one that was going to raise the people questions and concerns more than some of the others that were maybe just more on the mission side of things. And then I just went through my own struggles and journeys. People see a 30-year E9 and they assume that life's always been good. And the reality is I didn't have that. Like, I grew up with nothing. I had to make something out of myself. My family wasn't, we weren't rich by any means. We dumpster dove to get by. And so when you think about, okay, when you believe that if you came from nothing, I always still to this day believe I can return to nothing. And so the way that I make sure that it doesn't happen is I take good care of people around me so that if I ever need or feel like I'm going to fall on my face, I've got those safety nets. And you don't do it in a way that's slimy. It's genuine that I want to take good care of people in hopes that one day, if I need them, that I can lean on them, knowing that I don't lean on people well. I'm bad about asking for help. And then seeing, first sergeant duty, I saw a lot of people in some of their worst states of their life. And so being able to jump in and help out and get people through the emotion or the just turmoil of it all, and whether it was that something happened to their family and they lost somebody, or whether they did something and they committed a crime and now we've got to navigate that. Whatever it was, I just felt like people need people that will treat them with respect, that are going to walk them through the process and not have them keep their head held down in shame the whole time, because we do that sometimes where we just keep kicking people while they're down. And so I built a lot of resilience for my own life things and then just helping people through their life things. If I could never be called resilient again, that's a life goal, right? Like, if I could never be called that word again, that would be fantastic. We don't ever think about it from that angle, though. It's like it's exhausting to have to always be resilient. But the reality is we kind of always got to be resilient because you just never know what life's going to hand you. And so I just think people that can look at people through those very human lenses is critically important to any mission that you're doing.
Even if we're not talking about resiliency, right? Life's going to have its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Do you have a story about the power of building out that support network to help get through the downs of life?
My own story. I stepped down the ladder in the Space Force where I was, we're all kind of trained and kind of taught, up and out is what successful looks like. To me, I had to take a back seat to that. I had to let my career take a little bit of a back seat, which wasn't normal, it wasn't comfortable. But, my marriage went sideways a few years ago, and so when that happened, I was, kind of propelled into single mom life, and I was a chief, and I was a Delta level chief, which was kind of like group equivalent-ish on the Air Force side, and then the next move would typically have been up to a field comm, another rung up that ladder, because that's what we'd all been trained that success looked like. For me, in that moment, I had to come forward to my colonel at the time. I also went forward to the chief master sergeant of the Space Force at the time and said I need to take a step back down, because right now my family is the most important thing to me. I've got 2 young boys. They're going to go through this thing with their parents. I need to make sure that I can slow down I was traveling a lot. Slow down the travel, slow down just your own breathing some days, and make sure that I do not leave these 2 kids behind while I'm trying to chase all this careerism stuff, which for me, I had only had a couple more years, and that road was going to come to an end too. So when I stepped from being a Delta II chief down to Vossler Academy, in the hierarchy of things, the impact to me was great, because you're impacting all the NCOs and senior NCOs that come through across the service. So there's a broad impact there. But when you look at the hierarchical, I can't say words, org structure, that was a squadron level job. And I was operating at a Delta, which is more of a group or wing level equivalent job, depending on the size of that Delta. So it wasn't common that somebody goes back down. And then I was one of the most seasoned chiefs at the time. And so I should have probably climbed up a ladder and not down, but I couldn't find it within me to do that and feel good about it. And so I stepped back down. And I have no regrets about it. My kids are thriving, and I felt like I made a pretty profound impact before I left, and it all worked out. And so sometimes you just have to trust that you don't have to have every single stone in the path figured out in front of you. You just kind of got to go with what's right now, based on what you need, and you bring that human piece of you back into the equation.
Oh, it's the power of having the moral courage to stand by your beliefs.
Yeah.
Right? You knew that your family was number one, and when the family responsibilities clashed with it's called professional ambitions, you had the moral courage to have some tough conversations and do what was right for you. And it sounds
There was too much
like
to lose. There was just too much to lose when it came to my family. So I had to do the tough thing. Ultimately, it turned out perfectly. I landed great. I had support around me. I wouldn't have changed a thing now. It was scary going in because it just wasn't what normal felt like.
Chief, I appreciate you coming back to have this conversation and show the vulnerability of some of the less than ideal times in your career. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I would do it all over again. It was 30 years up and down, a little crazy at times, but I have absolutely loved every minute of it. I have no regrets. If there were, I guess I say I have no regrets, and I'm like, but if there were a regret, it would be, which sounds like me, slow down. Take it in when you can. Make time for those moments. I really think that people enjoy moments, and there's a lot of just core memories you can make along the way if you slow down and allow yourself some time and some breathing space to do that. Because it goes by so fast. It'll be gone before you know it. 30 years sounds like a long time. I felt like I was just starting and it was over. And so slow down, keep your family with you, involve them as much as you can, and then just don't give in to that nonsense you hear all the time where people say it's lonely at the top. It's only lonely at the top if you make it that way. People will stick with you as long as you treat them well and you want them on the journey. So it doesn't have to ever be lonely at the top. Don't believe that.
Well, Chief, thank you again for making the time to come back. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and share, or just check out one of our other interviews. You can also visit our website via the link below to submit your questions so you can participate in the next interview.